In March 2021, Chinese military officials issued a quiet directive telling personnel to park their Teslas outside military housing compounds. The stated reason wasn't safety or emissions, it was cameras. Half a decade later, that same core suspicion, that Tesla's own vehicles might be watching too closely, has spread into government buildings, sensitive industrial sites, and entire categories of driving software across multiple continents. Today, we're mapping out every country and region where Tesla has faced a real ban, restriction, or regulatory roadblock, and the very different reasons behind each one. Welcome to Faulty Blueprint. Let's open the file. We start in China, where Tesla's restrictions run deeper and longer than almost anywhere else on Earth. In March 2021, Reuters and the Wall Street Journal both reported that Chinese military complexes had banned Tesla vehicles entirely from their grounds, citing concerns that the car's external cameras and ultrasonic sensors could capture sensitive location and facility data the Chinese government couldn't monitor or control. Tesla vehicles use 8 surround cameras and multiple ultrasonic sensors to power their parking and driver assistance systems, and Chinese officials specifically worried that data could theoretically be transmitted back to servers outside the country. The restrictions didn't stay confined to the military. Within months, officials at government agencies in Beijing and Shanghai were verbally instructed not to park Tesla vehicles at their own workplaces, and by 2024, the restricted zone list had expanded further still, eventually including conference centers, cultural venues, and even highway operators tied to state-owned enterprises. Tesla responded by localizing its Chinese data storage entirely onto in-country servers to comply with new data regulations, and the company was eventually able to pass a state-run security assessment, allowing some restrictions to ease. But the underlying tension, a Western tech company's cameras operating inside a government deeply skeptical of foreign data collection, has never fully disappeared, and Tesla's relationship with Chinese regulators remains far more cautious than its relationship with regulators almost anywhere else. In the United States itself, Tesla has faced a very different kind of restriction, one aimed not at the hardware but at the marketing language wrapped around it. California's Department of Motor Vehicles has pursued legal action against Tesla over its use of the terms autopilot and full self-driving, arguing the branding misleads consumers into believing the vehicles are capable of more autonomous operation than they actually deliver. In February 2026, Tesla dropped the autopilot branding from its marketing materials, specifically to avoid a 30-day sales and manufacturing restriction that California regulators had been preparing to impose. This wasn't a ban on the technology itself, since the underlying driver assistance system continued operating largely unchanged, but a forced retreat from language regulators considered actively deceptive, a pattern that's now repeated itself in multiple markets around the world. That same branding fight has played out even more directly in Europe. When Tesla sought approval for its full self-driving supervised system across the European Union, several member states raised specific objections, not just to the technology's safety performance, but to the name itself, arguing that full self-driving misrepresents a system that still legally requires a fully attentive human driver, ready to take control at any moment. The Netherlands became the first European country to grant approval in April 2026, after 18 months of testing and more than 4,000 closed-track trials. But that approval came bundled with strict conditions: mandatory driver tutorials, persistent attention monitoring, and an automatic system shutdown if the driver fails to respond to alerts. Even after the Dutch approval, regulators in Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Norway continued raising concerns specifically about how the system handles icy roads and posted speed limits, and a full European Union-wide vote, extending approval to all 27 member states, still hasn't happened, with some trackers now expecting the process to slip into 2027. Tesla itself has acknowledged that several existing EU regulations make its current FSD system technically illegal in its present form, since some rules were written for an earlier generation of driver assistance technology and haven't caught up to systems capable of automatically changing lanes or handling more complex driving scenarios without direct manual input. South Korea has approached the Tesla question from an entirely different angle, driven less by data privacy or branding concerns and more by physical safety in the wake of a series of high-profile battery fire incidents involving electric vehicles from multiple manufacturers, Tesla included. Following those incidents, South Korean regulators tightened requirements around battery health reporting, fire suppression infrastructure in parking structures, and mandatory public disclosure of battery manufacturers, adding compliance obligations that specifically affect how Tesla vehicles are marketed, insured, and parked within the country, even without a formal nationwide ban ever being enacted. Taiwan has quietly mirrored several of mainland China's own concerns, restricting Tesla vehicles from certain military and government-adjacent zones for similar camera and data security reasons. Despite Taiwan's broader political and technological posture, typically running in the opposite direction of Beijing's. The overlap here isn't about political alignment at all. It's a shared, practical concern among defense-conscious governments that any car bristling with external cameras and connected sensors represents a potential intelligence-gathering risk sitting quietly in a parking lot. Even within Europe's broader auto market, Germany's relationship with Tesla has grown more complicated in recent years, not through a formal ban, but through a mix of regulatory friction and public backlash. Germany's transport authority, the KBA, has signaled it may take additional months to independently verify FSD's safety for local road conditions, even after Dutch approval clears the path technically, treating the Dutch certification as a starting point for domestic review rather than an automatic green light. Layered on top of that regulatory caution, Tesla has also faced a genuine consumer backlash across parts of Europe, tied to CEO Elon Musk's political commentary, contributing to a sustained sales slowdown across the continent that, while not a government restriction in the legal sense, has functioned as a real market barrier of its own. So here's the pattern running through every single restriction on this list, and it's worth naming directly. Almost none of these are bans on Tesla as a car, in the traditional sense, the way a country might ban a specific unsafe model outright. They're targeted restrictions on very specific things Tesla does differently from most other automakers. Aggressive external camera and sensor arrays that worry security-conscious governments. Marketing language that regulators across multiple continents have independently concluded oversells what the underlying technology can actually do. And a rollout strategy that consistently pushes new autonomous features to market faster than international regulatory frameworks have been built to evaluate them. China worries about surveillance. California and the EU worry about misleading branding. South Korea worries about battery safety infrastructure. Different governments, different specific fears, but almost every restriction on this list traces back to the same underlying tension. A company built around moving faster than regulators are structurally able to follow. If this changed how you think about the Tesla parked in your own driveway, let us know in the comments which restriction on this list surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to Faulty Blueprint, because next time, we're breaking down every major tech product that got banned somewhere in the world, and why.